Dirty Diddy? What the cuck?
The worst Netflix and chill in the world. Diddy, the diddler.
A set of these. Does this have anything to do with that?
Why does he stand in the corner and diddle with himself?
His small appendage.
Do I understand this correctly? That Sean Combs, aka Diddy, fetishized Shaquille O'Neal? Okay, have you ever met him? He's as tall as a door, right? I would not mess with him. Plus, Michael Jordan and Kobe? What?
Well, that aligns with previous testimony that we've heard that Sean Combs specifically wanted to see entertainers before they were invited for a freak off because he wanted it to be as big as possible. And that plays into this sadism theme that Dr. Marshall has brought up.
Whoa, what? Please call on me. What did you say?
Tisa Tells told us this a few days ago,
What did
Nancy.
you say about Shaq?
I would have to assume that Shaq, being the person that he is a very large person in every aspect, Nancy.
Okay, see, here, Sydney, we talk about murder, serial murder, arson. I don't have time for euphemisms, okay? Yesterday, you, Tisa Tells, kept talking to me about how Sean Combs wanted the sex workers to be, quote, well endowed. Okay, you're making it sound like, as I said, a trust fund at Harvard University, when you're actually talking about the physicality, and I'm trying to put it delicately so we don't get thrown off the air, of the sex workers. Is that correct? That's a yes, no, Tisa Tells.
Yes. And listen, Grandma,
okay.
close
Now, that, just a yes, Okay, Sydney Sumner. Don't put perfume on the pig. Tell it.
Well, Nancy, it appears that Sean Combs wanted an entertainer that could make up for his Tootsie Roll. So we know that Sean Combs, according to the civil lawsuit, is not well endowed. So we think that he hired entertainers that were much more so. And this could either just be a personal insecurity, or maybe it is this sadism idea that Dr. Bethany Marshall has brought up several times, that he wanted the women who participated in these hotel nights to feel some level of pain every single time that they participated.
Does this have anything to do with that?
Well, not only is Diddy the diddler on the down low, but he is compensating for his small penis. And I do think that he has, I think we would say, in all seriousness, polyperverse, meaning a perversion technically is when somebody cannot achieve through a relationship with another person. They can only achieve through some fetishized experience, like looking at maybe a high heel, a whip, a chain, something that just stimulates their fantasies, but it has nothing to do with the person they're in front of. And a common one is sadism. We talked about this yesterday after the courtroom day wrapped, is inflicting pain and cruelty and humiliation on another person in order to achieve sexual. In this case, identifying with Kobe Bryant and Shaquille, I think that this fantasy is of being at the center of attention, the king of the world, somebody who has great capabilities. And maybe the fact is he's compensating for his small appendage.
But one thing I don't get, Dr. Bethany Marshall, it's like a fantasy on a fantasy, and they're all weird. Okay, so let me look at my flow chart. It's a role play where Sean Combs is Michael Jordan, okay? The paid escort, male escort, has a Shaq attack. He's Shaquille O'Neal, and Jane is Kobe. So it's a fantasy on top of a fantasy. What is there a name for that?
Nancy, I in my clinical practice, I often explore people's sexual fantasies to try to get to the bottom of what their characterological issues are. And this one would take 6 months of psychoanalysis. Let me tell you, I mean, I think there's this identification with these greats, right? That he wants to be like them. That's his raison d'etre in life. I think he wants to be by them. So the idea that he's the recipient of a sex act, but you can't just call up Shaq and say, "Can we Netflix and chill?" Right? You can't do that. Or, "Can I take you out for a drink?" So what are you going to do? You're going to substitute some poor woman you're sex trafficking in your fantasy life.
Who knew about this fascination with the NBA greats? Now, I think I recall seeing Combs front line on the court at professional basketball games with various women. But
Yeah,
who knew he wasn't watching the scoreboard? That's not what he was doing.
I think people around him knew that he had a fascination with powerful people. When I was working with him, he had a very unusual interest,
Shooter, what
fascination.
are you saying? What
I'm
are
saying
you
that
saying? We're not talking about Gandhi or the president. Famous people, private parts. Why are you saying he was obsessed with famous people? Because from what I understand, this is what he's interested in. A set of these. Thoughts?
I don't know if I have thoughts about that, but I do have thoughts about the
I
Grey
think
Guns,
you
if you want to
do.
hear about that. I don't know, Nancy. I'm not the biggest sports fan in the world.
So, Rob Shooter, you wouldn't touch a pair of these with a 10-foot pole, right?
Well,
You
man,
won't talk about it. But you hear the bizarre role play that he insisted on with Jane. And I got to tell you something. There's a point in the courtroom where you have to be confident enough in your case and in yourself to say, no further questions, because you're making it worse. The defense is digging their own grave with their teeth, talking and talking and trying to massage Jane's testimony all day long on cross-exam has backfired spectacularly.
you're right, Nancy. No further questions. You've got me.
Dirty Diddy? What the cuck? A cuck bi-curious, ashamed to have sex with men. King of the world. Okay, what's a cuck?
A cuck is somebody who wants to see his wife or partner having sex with other men. The fetishized fantasy that elicits arousal is the idea that the woman is cheating on him while he's away. And according to Jane, one of the sexual fantasies that he wanted to relive with her was while he was on his private jet, she was asking one of the male escorts to come in and have sex with her. So that's called cuckolding.
Okay, you're saying, Dr. Bethany, a cuck, C-U-C-K, wants to watch their partner have sex with somebody else. Why would you want that? Because my marriage motto is open marriage, open casket. So I don't get it. Explain that desire to me.
Well, I think there's a couple aspects. One, we see with people who have sex addiction and drug addiction is an impaired reward system where they need to push the envelope more and more to gain sexual arousal. But the other is that men who want to be cuckolded are often bi-curious and they have fantasies of having sex with other men, but they're too inhibited or for whatever reason, they're not going to carry it out. So they would rather watch their wife or partner have sex with other men so they can incorporate same-sex attraction and arousal into a heterosexual relationship.
Tisa, okay, they would play back the video of the hotel night, aka freak off, aka sex session, rape torment, like a football game, like a replay.
Like the worst Netflix and chill in the world, it gets deeper than that. he would literally mirror his phone onto the television screen. So she was forced to do that. What they described in court was something that, again, I get the cold, but then I went and I researched it. I said, okay, but I don't see crackhead in the definition of cold. I don't see graying gums. I don't see dressed as a burqa from the neck up and neck up from the neck down. I don't see that in the definition of a cold. The defense is trying to run with this. They want to say that's all it was. But again, cold, I never thought I would say this, but I think that Sean Diddy Combs gave cuckolding a bad name, if that's possible to do. But we were shocked in the courtroom.
Tell me about the bisexual claim.
So the bisexual claim, it's very interesting, okay? She didn't know what was going on. Keep in mind, we're still in the early parts of this Romeo, unbeknownst to her, this Romeo pimp situation, okay? He's introducing her into this life of darkness. So he's starting off slow. So she's trying to make sense of what's going on. Why does he want all these disgusting things? And they even played audio where you can see her literally, it was so embarrassing and humiliating for Diddy, where you can clearly see this woman is doing everything she can to get out of the next freak off. Again, it hasn't descended into violence and pure debauchery, but so she's Googling what's going on. Why does he like to see other men? Why does he stand in the corner and diddle with himself? What is going on? So that's when she said, I think he's bi-curious.
I don't care who sleeps with who. As long as it's not my husband, it's not my business until it becomes a felony. Up until then, don't care. But to Rob Shooter joining me, former PR guru for Sean Combs, how will the bi-curious allegation play in the rap world?
Not well at all. This is still one area of the music business, of the entertainment business, that has been very, very slow to embrace LGBTQ people. It has been a problem. I've been to several big events where it really is the homophobia is there. It's tried to be sort of kept under wraps, but fans don't like it. If you listen to rap music, particularly rap music that's on the charts, the most successful rap music, it is not unusual to find a misogynistic, a homophobic lyric thrown around as if it is just everyday talk. So this will not go over well, and this is probably one of the reasons that if Diddy is indeed bisexual, it's something that he will definitely want to keep hush-hush under the covers.
Well, guess what? The cat's out of the bag. How did she hold up under cross? And what does a $5,000 Bottega designer bag have to do with anything?
Listen, we were in the court and we were wondering the same thing, but our little sweet bunny rabbit looks like she sharpened her shank today and she pushed back on, and one of the more humiliating things for Diddy's defense team. It started off while she was just going through mundane questioning. Have you had this? Have you had that? She mentioned, you seem to be mad that he took somebody shopping in Chanel. She literally said, yeah, because all these other girls were, being shown off, blah, 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 blah. The defense team thought they could sharpen and go in, and they thought they could actually break her, maybe get her to feel a little bit ashamed or show how petty she was. And the defense team went on this really odd way of questioning. Well, you got a Van Cleef bracelet. And she said, okay, I did. I'm sorry, our little bunny rabbit, she has a voice like sunshine. Yes, I did. Then they asked her, and you got a Bottega bag. How much does a Bottega bag cost? Now, this is a defense attorney in head to toe Chanel. Our little bunny rabbit sharpened her shank and said, you have one, don't you? To push it back. Because again, the line of questioning was so insulting. After she just finished a day ago telling us how she was an unwilling participant in a cracked out version of The Shining, they're now trying to say that somehow a bag and a bracelet somehow made up for everything. But however, the defense was a little bit taken aback. She said, well, I mean, how much is it? 1,500 or 5,000? Like, how much is a Bottega bag worth? And our little bunny rabbit said, how much is my body worth? And the whole courtroom was just sitting there in shock, because it was such a beautiful thing to see that a victim, somebody that Diddy had made feel small, broken, both mentally and literally physically, finally in that moment Why Diddy is sitting there looking like he's smirking at her almost, was able to hold her own against the defense team and push back and push the narrative that my body's worth more. I'm worth more. So it was a powerful moment in the court.